Alrighty, guys, we are back. I'm going to, try to remedy the Bahamut issues. We're here in the inn room. This is one of the things you can do. You can watch some of the cutscenes from before. Now, obviously, a lot of these are going to cut out some of the in-between stuff, and you won't see any of the fights. We are going to watch all these little cutscenes here, one after the other, and hopefully you'll get a little idea. You'll get some audio with these cutscenes. I will, of course, narrate them again like I did before. And hopefully, that'll be something that you guys get something out of. So we're just going to start with Coil 1 and play, and we'll see how this goes. This is right when you enter the coil, obviously. Again, if you're okay without this background noise, the game noise, then, I did do these already, and I went through all of them. Yep, there we go, okay. And I did read the dialogue. So you'll have that, you just don't have the background. The scars left by the calamity. We're going to do this. I can scarce breathe for the surfeit of Aether. Tell me, have you ever seen corrupted crystals such as these? Such crystals manifest across the realm when the course of the great river of Aether was irrevocably altered 5 years ago. Behold, one of the objects that caused the alteration, a fragment of the lesser moon Dalamud. Ancient Allig created Dalamud, or Meteor, to use Garlean name, to serve as a celestial prison for Bahamut. Its fall incited grievous wounds upon the land, wounds that have yet to heal, as is evident from the corrupted crystals. Amazing. Dalamud's internal defenses still function in spite of everything, a testament to the ingenuity of the Alligans. The Garleans seek to appropriate their advanced technology, I am certain of it. We are about to come face to face with secrets that have long laid buried within the sands of time. Great dangers may lay beyond, but we have come too far to turn back. The truth of the calamity is within reach. Gas, God's preserve. Dark wings that would engulf the very heavens. These could only belong to Bahamut, the primal who laid Eorzea to waste 5 years ago. At Cartno, my grandfather sought to imprison Bahamut anew by invoking the power of the 12. Alas, the dreadworm proved too powerful as soon as he broke free of his confines. Yet, instead of resuming the destruction he had begun, Bahamut vanished, withered, to no one knew until this day. To no one knew where. But I do not understand. If Bahamut is truly a primal, how is it that he retains his physical form? Did Grandfather defeat him? Or is there some other explanation? We must press on if we are to learn the truth. If I am not mistaken, the other two cutscenes are just going to be the boss entry and then the boss dying, because I don't believe there are any more story in this one. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's just the boss entry cutscene. Just double checking, but yes. Alright, so after we do that, we go through 2, where we just fight through some defenses. There's no story, there's no dialogue in that one. Or 3, or 4. 4 is just an elevator ride down. We finally get to turn 5, where we arrive here, and there is some dialogue and some post fight and some important stuff. So we're gonna watch all of these for 5. This is going to be going rather smoothly than I expected. It is indeed convenient to have a hero on hand. Gods, that the cavern should open up again, even at this depth. Huh, that resembles a finger. Oh, and it should. This is Bahamut's hand. And with the wings, it seems to be frozen. And for that I count my blessings, but again I find myself wondering, how is it able to retain its physical form? I had assumed that Bahamut's reversion to ether was the cause of the widespread changes to the realm, but if he's still here, then that theory no longer holds. What was it then that brought about the realm's sudden regeneration? There's still so much we do not know about Cartano. I haven't the slightest inkling of how these caverns run, deep these caverns run, but we must continue. In flies Twintanya and her brood, which I believe would make cutscene 4 probably just the kill cutscene, but 5 and 6 should be the story. Yep. Good old Twintanya dying. This contraption, it's used to control the saturation of is it used to control the saturation of ether? Aether. I suppose there's only one way to find out. The dragon you vanquished earlier, doubtless you noticed a peculiar contraption around its neck. It was likely a receptor of some description, used to enslave the creature. Ancient Alec possessed the means to control dragons, it would seem. The Ishgardians would kill for this knowledge, though, to be sure, it could as easily be brought to bear against them. An army of dragons could turn the tide of any battle, as the Garleans once learned to their sorrow. I would not be the least bit surprised if they now sought to exploit this power. Whatever their plans, this serves as another reminder of the might of the Alligans. One cannot help but wonder how such an advanced civilization came to fall. Gods be good. This is Bahamut's head. And that a normal crystal, it pulsates as if it were a heart. Then the primal that had awakened was Bahamut all this time? No, 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 no. This can't be true. This would mean that grandfather died for naught? Confound it. We do not know enough to strike it now. We must withdraw. Who is that? No, it can't be. Grandfather, is it truly you? No, don't leave me again, please. Grandfather! I know, we can do no more for now. But this looks like... How did we come to be in Northern Thanolin of all places? Oh, but such details mattered little. Grandfather's alive, monkey. Bahamut did not defeat him. But why won't he return to us? I don't understand. This expedition has yielded more questions than it did answers. At any rate, we would both be better for a rest. Let us return to the waking sands and reflect upon what we have seen. Thank you, monkey. Without you, none of this would have been possible. So one thing that you miss out just doing the cutscenes is the quests themselves and unlocking things. Like, we started in Eastern Lenosha, which is why she's wondering how did we end up in Northern Thanolin. Because we went down, 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 but then like this aetheric gust brings us back to the surface, and it took us into Northern Thanolin. And the in-between where we get to talk to Urianger a lot. Louiswa was his mentor, and, you know, Alize's really torn up without seeing her grandfather, and she doesn't really have a purpose of her own. And Alphino does know that she's doing this, but she doesn't know Alphino knows. And he's a little worried about her too. Yeah, you get all that little intricate stuff in between on the quest. In the second one, we go to Northern Shroud to start after we talk to Urianger and everything. And we find another entrance just in the North Shroud. So we'll start there. This is down in the southern area of the North Shroud. And what's weird is we get there and it's like, hey, okay, so this looks normal. That's what it looks like in the North Shroud. But then we take like a step and this like pathway opens up in front of us, and as you can see, like all the red, and we're like, why couldn't we see this before? How strange. Why couldn't we not see this before? I suppose it's only to be expected that corrupted crystals should accompany a disturbance of this magnitude. After all, the fragment likely pierced the ground to the depth of many hundreds of yalms. The swirling aether leaked from the wound must warp the very air, creating a vile veil that hides these formations from view. Well, it's not as if we expected this to be a straightforward task. Let's tread carefully, shall we, monkey? It is imperative that we win through the depths of this structure and disable the mechanisms that power Bahamut's regeneration. Of course, if we should chance to encounter my grandfather upon the way, I shall not let him go again, not while there is hope that he might yet be saved. But mayhap we should put such thoughts from our minds until after we have successfully gained entrance to a place. That opening up ahead appears to be a suitable point of ingress. Yeah, you see that little plant that's looks like it's sleeping over there? That is the boss for this area. And if I'm not mistaken, there should be only 2 more cutscenes on here, right? 3 and 4. Yeah, that's just the boss entry and the boss death. There's no reason to watch those. And then in 2, we do get a cutscene right off the bat. In this one, right as we enter, basically we're entering into the Dalamud Shard from the outside. You can see as we enter in, we do get a nice little cutscene and a new character. That armor. No, it can't be. Be on your guard, monkey. Though it defies all reason that he should live, I know only of one who wears such armor. He whom the Empire raised as high as the Black Wolf himself, the legatus of the 7th Legion. I speak of the madman who brought the Meteor Project to fruition. We face the White Raven, Nael Van Darnus, harbinger of the 7th Umbral Era. Nael Van Darnus. Ah, that was the name of the fool who perished upon the eve of the promised Age of Glory. It should not be uttered within these hallowed halls. Out of love for his loyal servant, the one true deity named me Nael Deus Darnus. The one true deity? Bahamut? He speaks of Bahamut. O Lord Bahamut, thy name is sweet water to parched lips. How my heart swells at thy sacred touch. This blessed sanctum is the domain of my God and his beloved children. Seek to defile its glory, and you will answer to me. How is this possible? From what Alphino told me, Nael was slain on the eve of the calamity. Whatever the truth of the matter, we must be on our guard. There can be no reasoning with the worshippers of a primal. And after that, we ride a little elevator. Okay, it looks like we do have one after this. I don't remember what it is. So I believe 2 is just going to be... Oh, it's just showing us the elevator. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so 2 is like the official entrance, and you jump down from the elevator after that. Okay. So that means 3 would be the entrance of the boss, and 4 is the killing of the boss. Okay. I'll just skip to 4 just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is. Yep. It's just her dead. Okay. Nothing special about that. I don't believe there's anything in 3 other than the bosses. Let's see, what in 2 and 3? 1 would be the entrance, 2 is the boss, 3 is the boss death. Yeah, I don't think we get anything again until 4. We'll check 3 just to make sure. 3 is definitely just the boss death. And we'll watch the entrance so you can see what the entrance looked like. I guess the entrance cutscene is pretty cool. Maybe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this one is the one with the roaming ADSs down the halls. We come in. There might be a little bit of dialogue at the beginning of this. I can't remember. Nope, there is not. Okay. Or maybe there is. Oh, there is. I'm reminded of the passage beneath Castrum Ascidians. We must have traveled quite some distance below the surface. More of the same tunnels. 12s be good. Surely they cannot continue all the way down from the upper floors. 'Tis difficult to see inside, but I have a terrible feeling those corridors house more dreadful guardians than you have faced already. It is said that the Alligans excelled in the creation of chimerical beasts, and that the Red Moon teemed with 1,000 fantastical monstrosities, all to prevent the enemies of the ancient empire from releasing the Elder Primal. I wonder, the creatures that prowl these halls, could they be the beloved children of which Nail spoke? Well, this is yet another mystery to ponder upon our return. Shall we continue onwards? So yeah, there was that. I forgot. Okay, that's good. That's good information. All right, and now we get to 4. This is the last one on the second coil. That surely cannot be Dalamud. How? Where are we? The final resting place of Nail Van Darnus. This is a grave for the undeserving. And for the crime of trespassing upon my God's sanctuary, this place shall serve as your grave too. No! In the hour of his failure, Nail Van Darnus felt the currents of Aether begin to bear away his essence. But before oblivion could claim the last of him, a divine will reached out, and I was born. Then did the words of my God resound in mine ears. Bring unto mine enemies crushing defeat, that they may know despair without end, and claim thee thus the victory which thou wert once denied. Twould seem that little remained of Nail's essence when Bahamut plucked him from the brink of oblivion, and the result was this strange simulacrum. Nevertheless, her aura beseeks great power. She channels the rage of the Elder Primal himself. Lord Bahamut, thy wish is my command. None shall scape thine unquenchable fury. Come, ye dull, unthinking beasts, bare your teeth. They will avail you not in the calamity to come. Poor creature, what would that you have never been born? You were sundered your physical form and collapsed into ether. But Bahamut denied you death, and imprisoned what little was left of you in an ethereal shell resembling what, I wonder? Images from your memory, perhaps? But that shell is now broken, and your primal deity seems disinclined to sustain your existence. My primal deity? I kneel to no icon. What need have I to beg the favor of such filth? I am Nael Van Darnus, legatus of the 7th Legion. No. A moment. My thoughts are clouded, and this body is not my own. Could it be that you spoke the truth? Was I ensorcelled by the Lesser Moon's ancient prisoner? That will not happen again. You speak as if Bahamut no longer controlled you, but that's impossible. Once a primal ensnares a mind, it cannot be freed. Unless Bahamut simply relinquished his claim. What need has he of a broken spirit bound for the ethereal realm? Oh, that I fall prey to the very influence I sought to purge from the land. The irony is galling. But do not assume that all of my actions were chosen for me. It was my will that the Meteor Project be resurrected. Mine and none other. Yet it seems that my grand designs were destined to fail. Even the ungentle release of death was denied me. Nael, please, you must tell us more of the calamity. I must know the truth of what befell in the world, and what has become of my grandfather, Archon Louisoix. You are Louisoix's grandchild. Ah, the fates are generous with their cruelty. Continue on if you would have your answers. They await you at the terminus of your path. But know that this path leads only to despair. The light of truth was ever harsh and unforgiving. Why do you say this? Grandfather will be freed once we put a stop to Bahamut's restoration, will he not? What are you not telling us? Steel yourself, child. Only unbending resolve and merciless strength can conquer what lies ahead. The weak can do naught but weep under the pale of their own misery, as did the frail child I once was. Silence, chattering raven. Your wretched wings are broken, and you shall soar no more. My crimson moon, your brilliance sears mine eyes. I recognize that voice, Monkey, but he would never say such words. Come, let us finish what we came to do. All will be put all right when the final hulk lies dormant. Grandfather will be himself again, I'm sure of it. Bahamut regenerates more swiftly than I had anticipated. Let us hope that disabling this coil will serve to slow the process. The display seems different, but the controls appear to mimic the mechanism we found in the Lenosian Hulk. It shouldn't pose a problem. Monkey, forgive me. The moment I held Nael's transformation, hope wilted in my heart. I did not believe you could stand against the manifestation of Bahamut's power. For all your fabled strength and skill, I felt certain that I was going to lose you, just as I lost my grandfather. Even he, a man whom not seemed impossible, was humbled before Bahamut's might. And yet, look how far we have come. 'Tis incredible the feats of which we are capable, our boundless potential. 'Twas the capacity for greatness, I believe, that grandfather so clearly wished to protect. With all that has occurred, I have come to understand that much at least. "'Tis done. Shall we make our way back to the surface and gather thoughts? We have seen much and will benefit from Urianger's learned perspective." "Grandfather, it is you! Then why?" "Abandon this quest, Alice. I will not countenance further sabotage of the Coils." "Sabotage? But we must disable the Coils if we are to prevent Bahamut's revival." "Your defiance seals your fate." "No, no, you are not who I thought you were. My grandfather would never." "Foolish girl. How could the White Raven allow herself to be bested by such sniveling opponents?" "Listen well. We all exist at the pleasure of one divine will, and the word of Lord Bahamut is absolute. Scurry back in your holes, vermin. You have been granted this one reprieve, but should you be so foolish to crawl into my lord's domain again, I will crush the life from you myself." The light in grandfather's eyes. He suffered the same fate as Nail. My grandsire is no more. That was naught but a phantom that profanes his noble memory. This mockery must be expunged. I will not rest until I free grandfather's soul from Bahamut's tyranny. Do you hear me, Bahamut? Your time is at an end. Eorzea and my family will be avenged. Alright, so we come back out again, and we are in Northern Thanalin yet again. We go back, talk to Urianger, tell him about everything. Alphino overhears. We can't find a way to get back into any of the other hulks. Alphino and Urianger come up with a way to teleport us through Northern Thanalin into the next area. And Alphino decides he is going to come with us now. So we go into the next coil. So this is how it looks like on the inside. This internment hulk still functions. The teleportation was a success. We are come to the right place. There is no telling how much further Bahamut has regenerated since we last beheld him. Let us make haste to the main bridge and deactivate the coil. There were receptacles similar to these in the previous hulk. These hold chimerical beasts, but only the Allagans know what other abominations may be sleeping within. They may be well part of Dalamud's internal defenses. We must stay on our guard at all times. I believe the next one will just be the... Oh, no, it's this one. Okay. Yep, it's the boss entrance. Okay. I think that would be boss death and posts. So we'll do boss death just to make sure there's nothing at the end of it, because I know there's a cutscene after it. I'm pretty sure they would have separated it though. Yeah, it's separate. Okay. By the 12 dragons, and so many. We were aware that the Allagans possessed the means to control the creatures, but to imprison them thus is barbaric. I would not wish such a fate on my worst enemy. "'Tis plain that no love was lost between the Allagans and the dragons, but was it truly necessary to keep so great a number here? Dalamud did not want for defenses. This we have experienced firsthand. Such guardians as the Allagans created, both living and unliving, were surely no less capable of repelling intruders than these poor creatures. Tell me something, Alice. Have you not managed to determine by whose will Bahamut exists?" "No, I have not. At first, I assumed that Bahamut had no people of his own, and that the Allagans had perhaps discovered a way to simulate prayer itself. However, Nail's words gave me cause to reconsider, specifically the Shade's mention of Bahamut's beloved children. From that, I inferred that the Primal is given form by will of worshippers whom we have yet to..." Oh. God strike me down as for a blind fool. Bahamut's beloved children right before my eyes. How could I be so stupid? Who else but the dragons of Eld would summon Bahamut? Who else but they could sustain him? And to think I wondered why the Allagans kept them imprisoned here. Even should the flame of Bahamut's life go out, his faithful children would summon him back. For this reason, the Allagan Empire kept an army of dragons here in a perpetual state of duress, that they may sustain the Primal's existence. Truly, the Allagans' ingenuity knew no bounds, and neither did their cruelty. Small wonder that Bahamut was so enraged. Let no one deny that it was man who sowed the seeds of the calamity. Will you now turn your hatred towards our kind, dear sister? Do not patronize me, Alphino. I merely acknowledge our guilt. Lest you be in any doubt, I have no intention of allowing Bahamut to lay world to waste. Regardless of the atrocity the Allagans committed against his kind, we have no choice but to eliminate all who worship him, be they his children or his thralls. It seems reasonable to assume that the system responsible for the primal's regeneration is also responsible for sustaining the captive dragons. If we disable it, all should perish. Let us press on. Alright. I don't remember. Guess there is something on this one. And this is the boss entry. Yeah. Which means this should be the boss death. Why, this looks like a model of Dalamud, yes. For millennia, Bahamut must have gazed at this unchanging view, trapped inside a prison that was scarcely large enough to contain him, unable to move, denied the release of death. How his hatred for man must have burned. And that hatred found an ideal vessel in Nail Van Darnus. In many ways, Bahamut is to be pitied, not loathed. But knowing the true extent of his fury, I am more convinced than ever that our necessity of our endeavor. Besides, he is not the only soul that cries out for vengeance. And then we get to 3, and I believe from here on, yeah, there's a lot of cutscenes, and I believe everything is from here on is voice acted, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Gods, he is almost whole again.
His size is staggering. I can scarce imagine how Grandfather stood against such a monstrosity.
This cannot be allowed to proceed any further. Let us disable the coil and move on. Grandfather? No, that man is dead. I will not dishonor my beloved grandsire's memory by calling you such. You are but his twisted shape, the thrall of a mad primal.
You were foolish to disregard my warning, child. Are you so convinced of your own righteousness?
'Tis the rightness of our path that led us to return. Eorzea will never be safe whilst Bahamut remains to threaten all we hold dear. What of the hero who gave his life in defense of the realm? Do you truly dispute the justice of our cause?
My poor, Ignorant grandchildren. Your world is shaped by naught but recent conflict. Listen, and I will speak to you of justice. 'Twas in the twilight of the Third Astral Era. The southern land of Mericidia suffered invasion at the hands of the Alagon Empire. With no atrocity too depraved for their purpose, the forces of Alec were unstoppable in their advance. Desperate for salvation, the dragons prayed to one of their first brood, to their ancestor Bahamut. Infused by the power of their fervent supplications, Bahamut arose from the abyss of death and took wing as the Mericidians' newborn god. Yet this great miracle would only serve to further the maniacal designs of the dragon's imperial conquerors. The cruel fetters which bind my lord stand testament to the Alagon's boundless greed and hubris. I once summoned the 12 in an attempt to forestall the advent of the 7th Umbral Era. What then did the dragons of Mericidia do that I did not? Wherefore are they accursed and I exalted? 'Tis man's overweening belief in his own primacy that blinds him to the commonness of his condition and the truth of his own tyranny. As long as man is suffered to remain, the dragons shall never be at peace. Only when the plague of people has been expunged shall the children of Lord Bahamut be free. Then shall the world know true justice.
Stop it! Grandfather would never say such things. His belief that people were worth saving never faltered. He had faith in their strength, that they could stand together and push back against the darkness seeking to shape them.
A false hope. 'Tis folly to place one's faith in so flawed a race. Stand together? Huh. They would first need to agree on which direction to face. If history teaches us anything, it is that man cannot find common ground between his own 2 feet. Even you, twins, whose veins run with the same blood, struggle to fathom each other's reasoning. You hide your differing agendas behind the convenient banner of Eorzea's salvation. Given your obvious self-interest, can you truly claim no kinship with the Alagon? And though I hope they might bring you closer, 'twould seem that the twin grimoires I bestowed upon you were a wasted gesture.
There may well be truth in your judgment of Alize and me, but such a one-sided tirade bemoaning the evils of man rings false, coming from the lips of Archon Louisoix. Tell me, do you champion the cause of dragons because Bahamut compels you as his thrall? Or is it because you yourself have transcended the limits of man's existence?
Ah, so the possibility did not escape your notice. What I prayed for, and what I have become. These are the keys that unlock the truth behind Eorzea's rebirth. If you would have them, then you must needs take them by force. Come, Rend this divine form asunder and claim your answers.
But I thought... No. He has become a primal?
It is difficult, I know, but you must accept it. That entity is no phantom or imposter. It is our beloved grandsire.
Please, for his sake and for ours, you must defeat our grandfather.
Alright, so then you gotta fight Phoenix, which I believe you're gonna have what? The boss cuts, the boss scene, and then the boss death scene? Or just the boss death scene? Oh, yeah, this is death, okay. And now the coolest scenes of all.
Grandfather is truly gone this time. But better it end this way than the alternative.
I am yet here, Alice, my dear, sweet granddaughter.
Grandfather?
I must thank you, warrior of light. Without your valor, I might never have broken free of Bahamut's control. These last few moments are mine, to live as the man I once was.
This is all that I wanted. Yet, now that it is happening, I find myself struggling to believe it. Is it really you?
Grandfather, pray forgive me my insolence. It was not my intent to demean you.
Forgive you? I am proud of you, child. You were wise enough to deduce the manner of creature I had become. Alfino, Alize, if any here should beg forgiveness, it is I.
Grandfather, I must ask, will you not tell us what befell during the calamity?
Yes, yes, of course. You have come far to hear the truth. Let us then begin the tale at the Battle of Cartano, where clashed the forces of the Garlean Empire and the Eorzean Alliance. 'Twas there in the sky above the surging armies that the elder primal Bahamut broke free of the Red Moon Dalamut. In an effort to contain this avatar of destruction, I called upon the 12 to aid me in the creation of a prison of ether. But Bahamut would not be caged by such feeble bars. Too vast was his might, too fierce his rage. Little choice remained to me. I used the last of my strength to entrust our hope unto the future, and prepared to meet my end.
And now, the cutscene. What really happened. The reason why Louis Suarez the goat.
As you have no doubt surmised, I did not perish. When the cage built from the essences of the 12 was destroyed, the sky was filled with a colossal cloud of ether. This drifting energy responded to the prayers of those fighting below, and to my own desperate wish that the dying realm be saved by infusing me with the power of a primal. I became the immortal phoenix, ancient symbol of rebirth. Rising into the sky, I struck Bahamut with all my newfound strength. The blow shattered his earthly form, and a shower of ether rained down upon the land. Thus began the rejuvenation of Eorzea. Believing the deed done, I relinquished my hold on that staggering energy, desirous that it should be returned to the realm without delay. But I had not reckoned on Bahamut's tenacious will. Even as he teetered upon the cusp of oblivion, the dragon, reached out to claim me. Alas, within my fast fading form, enough remained of the Phoenix's energy to offer Bahamut a hold, and he dragged me along in his wake.
And thus began your existence as the Elder Primal's thrall.
I cannot help but wonder at his will to survive. Though he was all but obliterated, Bahamut found a way to seize the power you surrendered. That would explain why part of his physical form survived to be entombed underground.
It would also explain why Eorzea was so terribly warped. Even as the land sought to restore itself, the returning flow of ether was cut off.
Very good. When his grip on existence was once again secured, Bahamut did not cease his feast until he had consumed every last mote of ether that yet floated in the air.
And still he was not fully restored.
You must remember that by this time, much of the freed ether had already returned to the land. That which remained was not sufficient to reconstruct so massive a form in its entirety. But there did not need to be. Not for a being sustained by the marvels of Allagan technology. As long as some piece of Bahamut persists, the Coils will seek it out and continue their regenerative task. The fragments of Bahamut appear motionless from the surface, but deep beneath the ground they had been searching, tunneling through rock and soil towards their escaped prisoner. And, as you have observed for yourselves, they found his heart. Warrior of Light, heed me. You must put a stop to Bahamut's regeneration. Whether it be for man or for dragonkind. The question of justice is irrelevant. The Elder Primal will leave naught but a smoldering wasteland for both his children and ours. I beg you to defend Eorzea and guide its people to the future they yet struggle to find. This portal will take you to the final internment hulk. 'Tis time for the tale of Bahamut and his part in the calamity to come to an end. Alvino, Alize, pray, come closer. Your hopes and dreams must no longer be an extension of mine. You must needs find your own reason to fight for this realm, your own meaning in this sea of chaos. Will you do that for me?
Of course, Grandfather. I have already made it my mission to see this newborn Eorzea survive and flourish.
Alize, while I was yet enthralled to Bahamut, you spoke of my faith in man's strength. Know that your words reached me, imprisoned though my soul still was. So forceful was your conviction, I wonder if that belief has not become your own. Perhaps, after all your anger and sorrow was spent, you found something greater within you. See this fight to its culmination. 'Tis also your strength, in which I have faith.
Thank you for everything. Pray, take your rest, Grandfather. You deserve it.
There are records of an art that allowed one to summon the power of a primal from the essence of its demise. And though I am no true primal, all that I have left, I give to you. Alphino, Alize, my darling grandchildren. May Light's blessings ever keep and protect you.
Come, warrior of light. Our task remains undone.
Alrighty, we go to the last one. And here we go.
Twas a long and arduous road, but at last we reach its end. Farewell, Bahamut. I banish you back to the ether.
He is not yet whole. I did not think him capable.
Alize! Alize!
I had thought it finally over. We'll not survive another blast. No. Is this how I honor my promise to Grandfather?
You must needs find your own reason to fight for this realm. Your own meaning in this sea of chaos. Will you do that for me?
I will, Grandfather. In fact, I believe I already have. That reason has been with me all along, guiding me. Eorzea's blade of light, shearing through endless shrouds of darkness. I have been shown the miraculous feats of which we are all capable, of which I am capable. Bahamut, you have wreaked enough havoc. I will not let your wrathful fires consume all that we know and love.
How long I have waited to hear you say that! You have found your resolve at last! Let me join my strength to yours. In this place, in this moment, our purpose has become one. Future of Eorzea!
This last task is yours, Warrior of Light. You must destroy Bahamut's crystal core.
I believe the next one would be the kill. And then finally our last cutscene.
You did it! But one task remains. With this last coil disabled, there shall be naught left to bind Bahamut to this world. His beloved children will finally know peace. 'Tis done. He is truly gone. You knew, didn't you? You knew what Grandfather had become.
I was not certain, but from all I had gleaned, it seemed a distinct possibility. The scene people describe of the Battle of Cartano was one of unimaginable devastation, and 'tis through the combined prayers of the desperate and an abundant source of ether that primals are born. I merely put two and two together.
And you consider that a sufficient explanation? Well, however you stumbled across your theory, 'twas this revelation that made you wary of my attachment to Grandfather. You feared that in my obsession I would fall under his primal sway. Is that why you decided to join us? To pull me back should I show signs of wavering?
Pray forgive me, sister. I wished only to protect you. Yet I see now that I needn't have doubted the strength of your conviction. May I ask you a question? What do you now intend to do with the truth you have uncovered?
Which particular truth was that, brother? The fact that desperate prayer gave rise to the primal phoenix? That this new god was responsible for setting Eorzea on the path to rebirth? Should such a tale become common knowledge, people would soon offer up their prayers in earnest. They would beseech Phoenix to complete the healing that was begun.
Yet as you and I know all too well, the very act of calling forth this savior would do more harm to the land than good. We cannot encourage such worship for this very reason. Were Grandfather forced to return as an ether-draining primal, it would undo all that he had worked to protect. Your abiding love for him was the key that unlocked the truth of the calamity. But keys may also serve to seal doors that were best left unopened. Let your love now guide your actions, and lock away deep inside the fate of both Grandfather and Bahamut.
Fear not, Alfino. I understand what must be done. The realm need not know the truth for it to be saved. That the Elder Primal is banished, to return no more. That is enough. Let us make our way back to the surface. Poor Oriange must be beside himself with worry.
And that is the Coils of Bahamut. After this, they go and tell, cover up the truth, and Alice has like a little journey with you to Thanlin to say goodbye and put a flower at one of the shards of Dalamud, and that's it. So yeah, again, sorry about the mess up on the first one, but you can watch either video. They're both perfectly fine. This one has the voice acting, but yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.